Hi, this is Mr. Y. This is a game between Rudolf Charousek and Jakob Wollner from 1893. Charousek was a young genius chess player who unfortunately died only a few years after this. He was 20 years old when he played this game. This was a friendly game between Charousek and Wollner. We don't know really who Wollner was. I'm guessing that it was Charousek's friend. Um, anyway, they play. This was a tremendous game where Charousek started off with the Danish Gambit, which is e4, e5. He plays d4, giving up this pawn, and then he gives up the next pawn. And then he doesn't take back, right? He goes bishop c4. This is all about getting open lines from all your pieces and your two bishops in exchange for a couple pawns. So this is from the Romantic era of chess, when people played a swashbuckling style. Possibility here is to take here, and then you get this bishop taking back, and now you've got these two strong diagonals from the bishops just coming in really, really awesome. So Wollner didn't take that extra pawn. He moved his knight out here. And then Charousek did the same thing, bring his knight out. This pawn is still in tension here. Bishop c5. He brings his bishop out, attacking this f2 pawn. Then Charousek develops his knight, taking the pawn. Now we have d6, which develops this bishop, gets him out into the open potentially. And Charousek and Wollner both castled. Knight g5 was played. Now this is an interesting move. He's going on the attack already. I guess most of his pieces are developed. Even though the bishop and the queen are still in their starting squares, they have tremendous range. And in fact, this knight is is already defended by the bishop on c1. Now it looks like he's attacking f7. He's got two attackers going on to f7 here, but it's defended twice. So if he were to exchange the knight and the bishop for the rook and the pawn, that's not a good exchange for white. Traditionally, you don't take this pawn, but Wollner pushes the issue, and Charousek goes in with the knight. Now this is interesting. Wollner takes back with the rook, and Charousek doesn't exchange the rook for the bishop, even though that looks like it's a good exchange. The reason is he wants to keep this this rook pinned to the king. Whoops, that's the wrong square. Let's do that. Undo that again. Here, let's try that again. We'll use a different color too. Here we go. Okay, so this is pinned. E5 was played. Now this is interesting. You'll notice not only does the rook come up here and get pinned, also that rook is no longer defending this queen. So this queen is undefended, which ordinarily wouldn't seem like much, but it becomes relevant on the next move with this pawn push. Now the pawn can't be captured, because if he does, then Wollner loses the queen. So that's just bad, bad, bad. So he's got to move this knight away, because there's no other way to stop the pawn from attacking the knight. So he brings the knight out here. Now he's got three attackers on this pawn. 1, 2, and the rook that was revealed by the knight. Remember, the knight was right there a moment ago on this square. But as soon as he moved it off of there, now he's got three attackers on f7, and white only has two defenders, so that pawn looks like it's going to have some issues. So what does Charousek do? Well, he attacks the rook. Okay, so now the rook is stuck there. And Wollner brings in more firepower. Okay, so now he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces attacking this poor little pawn. And Charousek only has the king and the rook defending it. So, and also there is not only that there's also a threat here of checkmate from the queen. Queen comes down, that's checkmate. So what's Charousek to do? Well, he checks the king. King moves to f8, stops the pawn from promoting into a queen. Now this checkmate threat is renewed, so Charousek has to do something. So what he does is really the only move that works. Bishop f4. If he were to try h3, then we have knight takes, attacking the queen, and then I suppose rook takes back, and then either rook or the bishop or the queen takes the rook with check. Either way works. So okay, so where were we? Let me go back here. So h3 doesn't work as a defensive move, but this move, which is actually a developing move, also prevents the checkmate here because it defends that square. So then we have knight takes f2. So Wollner comes in, attacks the queen, takes this, threatens a reveal check. So there's all sorts of stuff going on here, right? We have this, we have this. Also, there is a revealed attack against the bishop. So what is Charousek to do? Well, he's going to move his queen right up here and attack the knight. And he doesn't defend the bishop, but he is threatening checkmate right there. Okay, so now they both have checkmate threats. Well, actually, this checkmate threat is gone for a moment. So in order to prevent the checkmate, Wollner backs up his knight, and that's check, amazingly enough. Okay, so we have, so now white has to do something. So white moves the king to here, king h1, and then now the checkmate threat here is renewed, so black has to do something to stop that. So he goes here, defending this square with the bishop. So Charousek brings his other rook in here, rook a e1, adding pressure to the e8 square. All right, so now black develops this knight. Actually, it's not about developing the knight, but it's adding another defender to this square, because now we have how many? We have, look, 1, 2, 3 attackers on that square, and he's only got 3 defenders on the square, so he's okay, it looks like. So now the question is, I'm going to ask you, can you find the killer move for white? I'll get rid of this arrow for you. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to. See if you can spot it. All right, what did you find? Did you find the queen sacrifice? Queen e8 check. Whoops, wrong one. Rook takes e8. Right? And then what? Did you see this? Sacrificing another queen. Bet you've never seen a game where you sacrifice 2 queens at once. All right, last move. Can you see this? Pause the video if you need to. If you didn't spot it earlier, this is the most amazing checkmate because it's double check. We have check and check. So when you're in check twice, you have to move the king. Capturing the bishop doesn't work, and blocking the rook doesn't work. So you have to move the king. But you can't move the king because this bishop, which has been sitting here for a long time now, is defending that square. So that's checkmate. What an amazing game. An amazing game. I am so glad that I stumbled onto this game because I wanted not, and it's just beautiful, and it shows the Danish Gambit in all its glory. We have attacks going on both sides, double-edged game completely, where we have this the knight sacrifice, pinning the rook, undefending the queen, pinning the pawn, multiple attacks on f2. What move was that? Oh yeah, and then the attack back on the rook, which Wollner replies with a mating threat, which Charousek just ignores, check, and then we have the bishop defending. We have multiple attacks coming from black here. White simply threatens checkmate, and then a revealed check. Checkmate threat is renewed, defended, redoubled, and then we get a double queen sacrifice, and not the move you'd expect, but a revealed double check and mate. All right. Hope you enjoyed that. Go play chess. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.